Hey bestie! Welcome back to Powerhouse of the Cell, where longevity, belief, and femininity intersect to help us lead longer, healthier, and more intentional lives. On today's episode, we are talking about the Pilates body, feminine embodiment, and performative wellness. We're going to explore the good, the bad, the in between with Pilates, and most specifically, how we all engage with Pilates in this day and age, and the problematic aspects of it, and why there's a disconnect with the foundational concepts of Pilates and how we are seeing it marketed today. And I hate to be not like other influencers, but whenever there's discourse on Pilates and wellness culture, I have yet to hear it from a Pilates girly. I have yet to hear it from someone who does engage in that certain type of fitness culture. So today we are talking about Pilates from someone who loves Pilates. Ever since I have discovered Pilates, it has been such a big part of my wellness routine. And I'm going to tell you the reasons why later. With that being said, I am also aware that there are problematic aspects of Pilates culture as we see it on social media. But that doesn't negate the positive effects that Pilates has on women's health, women's wellness. And like I said, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, the everything in between, so that if you are engaging in Pilates right now, because it's hard to escape Pilates culture right now, like it is everywhere. And I'm actually optimistic that the marketing of Pilates today will bring women closer to feminine embodiment, which is knowing their own bodies, accepting their own bodies, and embodying their own bodies. We're going to address the problematic aspects of online Pilates culture and also online performative wellness culture so that we can get closer and closer to feminine embodiment and away from performative wellness. Because at the end of the day, who are you moving for? You're moving for yourself and your community. You're moving for your own wellness and the wellness of other women around you. Like, that is what Pilates should be doing for you and for your community. So if it's not doing that, then you don't have to engage with it. Like, it's optional. Now, before we get into it, I need you to hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell so you never miss a Powerhouse episode. With that being said, let's get into it. When you really get into it, yeah, Pilates is a deeply healing and empowering practice. But because we are in an age of algorithmic sameness where only one ideal permeates our culture, and so we perceive that there's only one way to engage in one deeply healing and empowering practice, we get the Pilates body. So now women who engage with Pilates, they have this image of the Pilates body in their minds whenever they go to class or they are at home and they're doing an online, video Pilates session. Instead of the exercise of Pilates being a way to reconnect with yourself and know yourself, accept yourself, and embody yourself, aka feminine embodiment, it now becomes a practice of self surveillance. Instead of using the mirror as a safety measure to make sure that your form is right, you're not extending your body parts in ways that would injure yourself, it becomes a way to critique if you are fitting the aesthetic. So today we're going to explore number one, what it means to move for yourself, and number two, how we can get to know our bodies, accept our bodies, and embody our bodies, aka feminine embodiment. Instead of seeing Pilates and other wellness trends as ways to self surveil, to abandon ourselves, to contort ourselves to fit these little boxes that just get ever so smaller with the passage of time, instead of seeing these things as prescriptions, and if you don't fit in that prescription, you're somehow defective, instead of seeing it in that negative light, we need to see them as exercise on how to best know ourselves, accept ourselves, and embody ourselves. And if a particular wellness trend, if Pilates doesn't do that for you, then it's time to disengage. But with that being said, I do think that Pilates is a great way to know yourself, accept yourself, and embody yourself, and not only connect with yourself, but connect with others as well, because it is a very, very social activity. Because, hot take, with the rise of the Pilates body, a lot of women see the marketing of Pilates as a way to become someone else. But my hot take is that Pilates can be a way for you to come home to yourself. And to explore that, let's go to Pilates. Hey besties, welcome back to our Pilates studio. I'm your mat. L. And yeah, let's get into it. Let's do a little chit chat. How do you like your job as a Pilates mat? Honestly, I would not have it any other way. Like, do I get stepped on every day? Yes, but I love it. I call it pressure therapy. What are your shifts like? So I actually work 8 hours a day. Like, it's a real job. Like I get a break after 4 hours. It's like a regular W-2. Do you have a favorite client? Honestly, I try not to have favorites because I just want to be professional with everyone and make everyone just feel like so warm and welcomed, and I give them a little hug, like but that's it. I do have this one regular. Look what she got me. I complimented her skin one time because she just looked like she had a little bit of makeup on and her skin was just so dewy and her lips are so glossy, and I complimented her and she was like, and then the next time she came in, she got me a full thing of Typology skincare, and it's a French skincare brand and they're vegan and cruelty free. She even taught me how to use the products, and she recommended I start with the trio, which is the foundation, the concealer, and the lip oil. And honestly, I'm so blown away because this is skincare, tinted skincare. Like, the ingredients are so functional. Like, for the foundation, there's vitamin C and aloe vera, and in the concealer there's caffeine, and in the lip oil there's vitamin E and squalane. So it's skincare, but it's tinted, so it just gives you like this elevated look while giving you the benefits. Look at that. Oh yeah, I'm wearing it right now. And you know what? I try to be presentable for my clients, obviously, because we're like so face to face like that. Like, when we're working together, like, like we're so close to each other. So I try to be like presentable for them. And this really does the trick. I love it. Our classes start early in the morning, so I don't really have time to do a full beat in the morning. And this is just perfect, right? Like, okay, this is me at work. Yeah, you know what I mean? So like, do I have a favorite client? Maybe. Oh, the instructor is here and she's trying to clean us. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, girl. Oh my god, I'm gonna be ready for my next class. Okay, I guess I have to start working now. Bye. Thank you to today's sponsor, Typology. Click the link in the description and you can receive a free shimmering dry oil with a purchase of $40 or more. Now back to the topic. Now, to really explore all these topics, let's go back to the very beginning. Okay, from the dawn of Pilates time. Before it became synonymous with oat milk aesthetics and matchy-matchy sets and influencer workouts, Pilates was a practice rooted in healing, not appearance. It was developed during the First World War by Joseph Pilates, a German-born physical trainer, and the method was originally called contrology. And Joseph's system emphasized breath, core strength, alignment, and controlled movement. And it wasn't designed to have abs or have like these well-defined arms, the Pilates arms, but it was meant to rehabilitate the body after injury or illness. Pilates was actually created for resilience and recovery because it was used first in hospitals and internment camps. During the First World War, Joseph Pilates reportedly helped injured detainees regain strength by rigging up makeshift resistance equipment using hospital beds. And the method was later adopted by dancers and athletes not to achieve an aesthetic ideal, but to support functional strength and longevity in movement. And that's why when you go to Pilates, a lot of the exercises on the reformer, you're lying on your back. And that's because the first ever people to do Pilates as an exercise, they were bedbound. So the association of Pilates with luxury and exclusivity is actually very, very new. Now, with all that being said, the aesthetic of the history of Pilates is very incongruent with how we see Pilates today. And that's because Pilates has undergone a rebrand. We love a good rebrand though. While researching for today's class, there's been a lot of discourse on Pilates. Like, this could have been like a 2-hour episode, to be honest, but I only wanted to explore the feminine embodiment angle mainly. And I wanted to make that distinction that whenever we talk about online Pilates culture, it is a culture in and of itself online. Because when I go to Pilates in my day-to-day, everyday life, it doesn't look like what it does look like online. There's people who look like me, people who don't look like me. There's no like one Pilates body when I go to Pilates in real life. Like, there is a huge disconnect between what we see online and in real life. So, for a lot of women who have been curious about Pilates and have not tried it before, but they are deterred because the online perception of Pilates is very different from what they look like or the lifestyle that they embody or XYZ reason. Like, a lot of women feel excluded from Pilates when they shouldn't, because, like I said, it is a very deeply healing and empowering practice. And we're going to get into the science of how that is. But I think this algorithmic sameness of the Pilates body, like one singular body type that is being pushed as what you should achieve when you engage in Pilates, which this is very interesting to me, is like online, whenever you talk about Pilates, there's always like a body goal, right? Pilates arms, like I want the abs, I want this and that. But like when I go to Pilates in real life, like there's no goals. There's no like body goals like that. And you know why? For the people who do engage in Pilates, there's really very little talk of body goals. It's because Pilates won't give you the body that you're looking at. Pilates won't give you the Pilates body because the Pilates body is actually a lot of the times not achieved with just Pilates. It's actually a combination of different workouts and different eating habits that results in the Pilates body. And while researching for today's class, I came across Mina Lay's The Myth of the Pilates Body. I actually didn't watch it past like the first few minutes because I didn't want to like subconsciously copy it. But the title, and it's like a pretty long video, it points to the sameness of the Pilates body. Like, is the Pilates body a myth? Here's why I think it's a myth, because I know better. And this isn't my first round of wellness culture trends. Like, Pilates is like not my first rodeo, you know? Like, I eat up a wellness trend. I do. I do. I try everything and then I decide for myself if I want to keep it in my life. Okay. So when Pilates started popping up, there was this one influencer that I loved. Like, I loved following her. I loved her physique. I knew that her physique is very impossible for me to achieve because number one, I'm like half a foot taller than her and like we don't have like the same build or whatever. So I knew that like I would never achieve her body for myself. And when Pilates started popping up and she would do Pilates, at first, I really thought that that was a Pilates body. And then I scrolled farther into her page and found out that she was doing strength training, bodybuilding before she moved on to Pilates. And as someone who also did strength training and bodybuilding before moving into Pilates, now I'm like, oh, okay, that's not a Pilates body. That is a bodybuilding slash Pilates body. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like an interdisciplinary body. So whenever I see the Pilates body online, like women who have the Pilates bodies, like perfectly toned arms and the abs and this and that, I scroll and they don't really hide this, okay? They don't hide this, but it's like context clues. They also do strength training. If you scroll a little longer, you're going to see that they also do strength training. They also do bodybuilding. They are very interdisciplinary with their workouts. And I love that the Pilates girlies are also a lot more open with it. That, yeah, they also do deadlifts, they also do compound movements. And these teeny tiny 3-pound weights won't get you the hypertrophy that you were looking for. So, whenever you look at a Pilates body online, you have to ask yourself, is that really only solely from Pilates? Because a lot of the times, you're just not gonna get the hypertrophy that you're looking for from Pilates. Like, Pilates isn't for hypertrophy. So unfortunately, if you want BBL allegations, you're gonna have to go to the gym. You know, and obviously like I'm not like a fitness trainer or whatever, but this is just from my experience when I first saw like the first iterations, the first round of the Pilates culture and the Pilates body kind of taking hold of the internet. I don't know why, like I'm always like in the beginning of these trends. Like I always see them when they first start popping up. And I already had that disconnect in my head. I'm like, is that really what a Pilates body is like? Like, will I achieve that with Pilates? And the answer is no. No. First of all, whenever you see like a Pilates body, a lot of the times the girlies who go viral for their Pilates body online, they used to be bodybuilders. So they already have like the muscular base of hypertrophy, and then they lose their fat percentage through Pilates and other low intensity workouts. And then they get the Pilates body. But like I said, it's not really a Pilates specific, only exclusively body. It's an interdisciplinary body. And interdisciplinary means you're doing like different things at the same time, different disciplines. So it's not just a Pilates body. And for me, that is the myth of the Pilates body, is that a lot of the times it's not only a Pilates body. It's Pilates and XYZ, ABCD, XYZ. That's what it is. So, yeah, whenever you see like Pilates bodies online, if that's really your fitness, your physique goal, you need to know like how they got there. Because then you wouldn't be disappointed in yourself. Because you're doing XYZ, you're following whatever they say they're doing, but you're not getting the results because that's not really what they're doing. And that could be exactly what they're doing right now, but what were they doing before? Because fitness is a journey. It's like a multi-year, multi-decade journey. It's not just like 3 months of hard work. You're going to go hard for 3 months and then that's it for the rest of your life. No, it's an ongoing journey. So the bodies that people have now, it's taken years and years and years of work to get to where they are. And it's not to make it seem like so unattainable, because it's not. Like if you put your mind to it, you can get whatever you want. Like you can design your body the way you want, you can design your life the way you want. But you have to be realistic with yourself and not beat yourself up when you don't get the results, because maybe you were never given the full detail of how they got their results. And like I said, you cannot ever copy another person's results because you don't have the same body. And so you cannot beat yourself up over it. Your goals always have to be personal. No one else is your competition except you from yesterday. Okay, period. So we kind of got a little off topic there, but I wanted to bring that up, how Kathy Grant, a Black American woman, was the one who popularized Pilates in the United States, and how that part of history seems to be sidelined. And the image of Pilates as we see it today is very wealthy, it's very white, it's very thin. And that's just not representative of the history of Pilates when you think about it, because it was literally developed in an internment camp. Okay, which is the opposite of wealth, the opposite of privilege. And also, let's not forget that Lori Harvey in the early 2020s was the one who repopularized Pilates and brought it even more into the mainstream. And I bring all of that up because, like I said, whatever Pilates is in real life isn't really how it's represented online. And Pilates is this very healing and empowering practice. It is a very social practice that provides you the time and the space to spend time with your friends. Like, it's a very social activity. So a lot of women are missing out on that because they don't see themselves represented in Pilates media. But if only they knew, that Pilates is for everyone. Because it literally was developed for everyone. It literally was developed for marginalized people. When you think about it, think about it. Okay, so that's the history of Pilates. And that's just not what we're seeing online. Although, as an optimistic girly, I'm actually not upset that much at how Pilates is marketed online. It pushes the most extreme, the most whatever kind of content, and that's just what we see. And unfortunately, that also reduces everything to one archetype. It pushes this algorithmic sameness so that we only perceive that there is one way to engage in Pilates, that there's only one type of person who can engage in Pilates, and that there's only one end result, which is the Pilates body. But that's simply not true. And once you develop some media literacy and realize that you are the main character, you are the sun, okay? No one else is the sun, you're the sun. So anything, any media or literature, whatever that you consume has to cater to you. So if it doesn't do that, then it's not for you. Okay. If Pilates content is making you feel a certain type of way, then you don't need it. You don't need it in your life. Another thing I wanted to get into about the Pilates body is how it exemplifies the invisible labor that women are supposed to perform in society. Whenever we think of Pilates as an exercise or the Pilates body as an archetype, it's very silent. Think about it, it's a very silent aesthetic. And it's also very interesting that a lot of the marketing for women's products and women's workouts, the vibe is effortless. Like, why do we want to be effortless in the first place? This is a desire that we all have. Like, we all want to be effortless, or trying is no longer cool. But trying is cool. Nonchalant is not it. Like people who don't have any enthusiasm in their bones, like can we like get out of that era? Like trying is cool. Nonchalance is not. Having enthusiasm about life, a zest for life is cool, you know? So this effortlessness also has come to define women's wellness. Like, why do we want to be effortless in the first place? And I saw this one TikTok about how French women are never seen working out. And it's not because they don't work out, it's because they don't tell anyone that they're working out, or they don't film themselves when they work out. They just do, and then they leave it at that. And then someone else stitched that video and said, well, if you're not letting your labor be known, it's just invisible labor that women are expected to keep performing without being rewarded for it. And that just blew my mind. Like, why is there such a pressure to be effortless? Or not even a pressure. Why do we have a desire to be effortless or to be perceived as effortless? You know, the no makeup look. Why do we want to look like we have no makeup, but we have makeup? And it's very reminiscent too of the pick me girl archetype, where she wears a full face of makeup and then makes fun of other women for wearing makeup just because other women's makeup is more noticeable that it is makeup. So the pick me girl, she's like, oh, you guys are wearing makeup, you're wearing mascara. Like, oh, I don't like mascara. Well, she has lash extensions. You know, like, why? And then that also screws up other people's perception of women when women truly don't have makeup on. There's been videos as well of men saying, like,
Oh, I love women who don't wear makeup.
and then it's a woman with makeup. So like they don't really know what a woman looks like without makeup, like bare face, because they've only ever seen women with makeup.
Oh, I love a natural woman with no lip filler.
Meanwhile, the woman has lip filler. Have you all seen that video of the guy like,
Oh yeah, I don't like women with Botox and lip filler. Like, you're so natural.
and the woman's like, I'm not natural. Like I bought this face. You know? And as much as we say that, oh, we don't care about that, we don't care about what they think, but because we are under a patriarchy and we're not the ones who are in majority positions of power like that, like everyday perceptions like that do shape our world and our experience of the world. Like no matter how much we want to deny it, no matter how much we don't want to accept it, it just does. Okay, it doesn't matter if you accept it, it doesn't matter if you deny it, like it just does. Okay, it's like the sky is blue. We're still judged for how we look like. So whenever we hide the labor that we perform to look a certain way, to conform to standards, it doesn't really serve us. And you don't have to be obnoxious about it, but like acknowledging that, yeah, it does take time, it does take effort, it does take resources, it does cost us a lot to conform to these standards just so we could have a good experience of life. Things that we have to do and others don't simply because we are born the way we are. So whether you choose to hide or show your labor, it still doesn't negate the fact that you perform the labor. So yeah, when I saw that stitch about how hiding your invisible labor in a patriarchy is not serving you and is actually upholding the patriarchy and keeping them profiting from your invisible labor that cost you time, energy, resources, and maybe opportunities, like, yeah, I'm no longer hiding my labor. You know, like I'm not keeping it a secret that I spent XYZ amount of time, energy, and resources to exercise, to eat clean, to look a certain way. Like I'm not hiding that labor anymore because it's not helping me, it's not helping other women. Like this is exactly how much it costs us to conform. So yeah, like we're not hiding our labor anymore. It doesn't serve us, you know, especially in like these micro interpersonal interactions. Obviously nuance and knowing the time and place for stuff, but if it's ever brought up, like don't ever hide your labor. You did not wake up like this, you know, and that's okay. And this pressure to once again be effortless, to wake up like this, to be natural when you're not. Okay, when you're not, it doesn't serve you. Okay, it's you downplaying yourself, your effort, your research. Okay, because conforming is a skill. It's downplaying yourself whenever you say that you didn't do XYZ, you didn't spend XYZ to look a certain way. And obviously, you don't owe other people all of that information. Like, you don't owe anyone that information, period. But when it is brought up and you want to highlight how it does cost you to look a certain way, to conform, to not be ostracized, to not be judged, then you don't have to downplay yourself, you know? And this manifests too in like very like tiny little interactions every day, you know, getting ready for dinner. When people complain that you're taking too long to get ready because how you are treated when you walk out that door is largely dictated on how you look like. So of course you're going to spend a little more time getting ready. So yeah, don't hide your invisible labor anymore. Make it visible. And that starts with naming your labor. And that is honestly the first step to turning Pilates from this online very unrealistic aesthetic into an embodiment practice, is realizing that it is labor. It is women's labor. And a lot of the time, it is women's invisible labor. And I think the reason why, as well, that Pilates is dominating social media is because it is female dominated. I would say all the studios I go to, they're all women owned. And a lot of them are women of color owned. And the classes are 90% female. It is a very female dominated industry, a very female dominated exercise. And for that very reason, I cannot be a hater of Pilates. Because whenever women flock to something, I think it is a sign of wisdom. So why are women eating up Pilates as a trend? Like, why? Why am I eating it up? Like, I ate it up so hard. Like, I go twice a week. I love it. I go with my girlfriends. We get matcha after. Like, it's vibes. Why? So let's get into this too, because this has been a pet peeve of mine. And when I started making content, I caught myself doing this too, is dissecting women's trends. And it's both men and women dissecting women's trends as well. And it is happening right now to Pilates. And that's why too, like the Vibe is support group, because I'm not outside of these trends. I also participate in them. I also eat them up just like you. Like, I love them. But why? You know, so I don't think I can ever be fully self aware when we dissect these trends because I love them. I do. I can't. Like, no one can pry my 3-pound ball of weights from my hands. Okay, you have to pry them from my cold, dead, manicured hands. But why? So, whenever there's these trends, why is it that women's trends always get dissected, always get put down like that? And that really pains me to see online. Like, why is everyone all of a sudden hating on Pilates now when it is very clear that it is a female dominated industry? You know, it's female business owners, it's women of color business owners, it's 90% female customers. Why? Like, I freaking love Pilates. But why? Because, like I said, whenever it's a women's trend, I don't think it points to how vapid women are, how shallow women are, how sheep like women are. No, whenever there's a women's wellness trend, I think it points to wisdom. And it is just a consequence of the algorithm pushing us into one aesthetic, one ideal due to algorithmic sameness. Like, that's the problem. The algorithmic sameness is the problem, not Pilates, not the women engaging in Pilates, building community with each other. Like, my local Pilates studio, like my favorite one, I have a couple that I go to. My favorite one, they have community events. You can rent out the space for your birthday, for brand events. Like, it's very community based. So, like, why would you ever hate on something like that? I don't get it. Like, I really don't get it. So I don't hate that aspect of Pilates at all. But we do have to acknowledge that the online messaging of Pilates as a behemoth is informed by algorithmic sameness. So we only see one version of it, but in reality, there's multiple versions. So if you are going to engage with Pilates after seeing it online on a TikTok, Instagram Reel, or on YouTube, just know that that's just the beginning. You know, that's like your gateway substance to get into Pilates. But once you're there, really envelop yourself in the nuance. Really use this as an opportunity to get to know yourself, to accept yourself and embody yourself and make community with others. Like, that is the beauty of Pilates. So if how you get there is through this lens of algorithmic sameness within Pilates, just know that that's not the end all be all. And like I said, if the image of Pilates online is making you feel worse about yourself, then you should not engage with it. Like, don't. Because it is true, there are problematic parts of the online Pilates culture, and we're gonna get into those things now. I did a poll on my Instagram story about if you have beef with Pilates, spill the tea. And one of the biggest beefs that the girlies had with Pilates was the high cost of Pilates, the barrier of access to Pilates. And it is true that Pilates is expensive, but why? For something that was developed in an internment camp, why is it so expensive? Well, the reason why is number one, a lot of Pilates studios usually open up in high rent districts, and that's because demographic wise, a lot of the times it's the wealthy people or the non poor people who have the extra time to engage in exercise and also pay extra for exercise. And number two, equipment costs. Like a reformer costs like thousands of dollars per, so the rent in high rent districts because of the demographics, plus the equipment costs, labor costs, licensing, whatever, those all add up. So a class may cost $25 to $45 per class. And at the end of the day, these are businesses. And a lot of the times, women own businesses, women of color own businesses. They deserve to feed their families too. But with that being said, you don't have to engage in Pilates in real life. There's online videos of mat Pilates classes. And if you can afford your own reformer classes online. Like there's so many options to engage with it. You don't only have like one option, but that is one of the biggest problems that people have with Pilates is that it is expensive. And it just is. But also, we know that all these trends, they follow the top down, trickle down mechanism of fashion and consumerism. So that means that Pilates may be expensive now, Pilates may be only for the wealthy now, but in the future, it doesn't have to be. In the future, it may very well be accessible to everyone, but we're not at that point yet. We are increasingly getting to that point though, but not yet. But with that being said, it is true though that online Pilates culture and maybe even in real life Pilates culture is a marker of extra time for leisure and extra spending. So it still is a marker of wealth and status. So, yeah, absolutely it is. Now, with that being said, I have this quote from this book that I'm obsessed with right now. It's called In Defense of Witches. The author writes, an American journalist, Annalise Griffin, feels that the recent success among wealthy women of the wellness industry, with all its much derided yoga, detoxing, smoothies, acupuncture, etc., can be explained by the disenfranchisement and dehumanization women are experiencing within the dominant medical system. The wellness industry, she explains, specializes in creating safe, welcoming, and amber-lit spaces that make people cared for and relaxed, and which treat the female body as its default. See, this is why I cannot hate on Pilates. I cannot hate on a lot of the wellness trends that women popularize, because a lot of the times, the reason why we flock to them is because we are their default. It feels like resistance within a patriarchy to have women centered spaces where we are the default, where seeing men in our spaces is like weird. And why is it that it's usually wealthy women who lead the charge when it comes to wellness trends? Like, think about it. A lot of the wellness trends are popularized by wealthy women exclusively. And why is that? It's because they're the ones with extra leisure time. They're the ones with the money and the privilege to explore how to find agency within a system that ignores them, within a system that they are not the default for, you know? And we have talked about this in our very first episode that it wasn't even until the early 1990s that scientists are mandated to study female organisms. There's so much we don't know about the female body. So having these spaces that treat the female body as its default, like Pilates, like yoga, like whatever wellness trend, it is very revolutionary for us. We find it a form of resistance. So that's why, like I said, when women flock to something, it's very rarely ever because they're vapid, they're shallow, they don't know any better. It's because it points to wisdom. There's something there, even though we don't see it yet. And another beef that I have with the online Pilates culture is how it encourages a form of disembodiment. And this isn't just for Pilates, this is for every wellness trend that has been popular for women and I have engaged in, is that if you don't engage with them mindfully, you can participate in disembodiment. And what do I mean by that? The reason why I started incorporating Pilates into my fitness routine is number one, it's very social. So it's an excuse to see your friends. You just schedule the same class and you go together, and then you grab a coffee or a matcha or, a croissant later. And it's very fun, So that's one of the reasons. And the second reason is, if you have ever participated in bodybuilding and you have a split, you have a schedule, and you have to follow this, and that. Two big moments in my life that pointed me to quitting bodybuilding was, number one, I injured myself. I was deadlifting and I injured my back. So I was out for a couple months. I had to go to the chiropractor, I had to go to the doctor. Like, I tried everything. And it wasn't fun. And I'm like, if the goal of exercise is for me to feel good in my body so that I can get older and be more mobile and still be flexible, like well into old age, like if that is the goal, why am I injuring myself in the gym? Why? So I can get some hypertrophy, so I can get a bubble butt? Like, why am I injuring myself to look a certain way? And that should have stopped me right then and there. But no, I recovered and I was back at the gym. And then the second time was, I don't know why, like I'm just very upper body heavy. Like, you know how everybody's different? For me, it's my upper body that doesn't need a lot of work. Like, I lift a little, she looks big, like she's buff, she has wings. That's just me. And because of that, I have to get massages, like sports massages, very regularly. My traps were massive, it would extend to here. Okay. And it would cause me headaches, upper back pain. Like, it's just like not the vibe. But because I wanted to lift heavy with my lower body, deadlifting or whatever, like I would use my traps a lot, which I know isn't proper form, but like my traps are overactive. Anyway, my massage lady was like massaging my traps. She was like doing this. And she was like,
Elle, you can't live like this.
and I'm like, you're right, I can't live like this. And that was it for me. I'm like, she was right. I can't live like this. Why am I living like this? Why am I always in pain? And it's like, oh, no pain, no gain. And I'm like, I get that, but I'm just not meant to live like that. Like that's just not me. And you know what? I came, I saw, I tried, I got injured, and I'm in pain, and I can confidently say that that's not for me anymore. And that just brings me back to today, why I love Pilates so much. I still do strength training. I do like one heavy leg day a week, but I'm just not going to push myself to the brink anymore, to the brink of injury. Why? Okay, why? And that was just a form of disembodiment. Was, number one, injuring myself to achieve an aesthetic, and number two, not listening to my body cues. I'm literally in pain. I'm spending all this money on sports massages for what? For what? So I would look a certain way? No. No. So that was just a form of disembodiment that I was partaking in. And the moment I realized that, I'm like, why am I doing this? And now that I have this relationship with fitness and I have this specific schedule, so I do Pilates twice a week. Not saying that you should do this. Okay, I'm not a fitness professional. This is just what I do, and this is for my own goals, for my own health. Okay, you make your own schedule. Okay, this is not a prescription. Okay, but just letting you know what I did. I do Pilates twice a week. I do one heavy leg day. And if I don't do anything that day, I'll just walk or I'll just go on a stationary bike. That's it. I'm no longer injuring myself so that I can get BBL allegations, you know? I never ever did get BBL allegations. See, I injured myself for what? Not even one BBL allegation. Annoying. And before the no one's Nelly say that,
Oh, so being sore is not feminine? It's not feminine wellness anymore? It's not feminine embodiment?
like, no, you're missing the point once again, no, Nelly. Like, being sore is normal when you work out. But if being sore 3/4 of the time doesn't suit you anymore at this point in life, at this juncture of your life, then you don't have to do that anymore. Feminine embodiment is about checking in with yourself and asking yourself, hey, like, is this still cool? Is this still cool? Because absolutely, I was having the time of my life when I was bodybuilding. I was like, ooh, gains, swole. You know, I was having the time of my life. I was enjoying it at the time. But when I was no longer enjoying it, when it was no longer serving my body, I waited too long to stop because I was like, well, I guess it's what everyone's doing. I should do it too. That in itself is the disembodiment. When you are betraying yourself, when you are betraying what you want for your body, what you are feeling, like when you're getting injured and you keep doing the thing that keeps you getting injured. For what? You're probably thinking like, well, if you keep getting injured, you probably have bad form. Yeah, I probably did. That's why I kept getting injured, you know? So that was probably a sign that it wasn't for me. Like I shouldn't be doing it, you know? And at one point, a lot of these fitness influencers, like they get injured too, you know? So like if you never get injured weightlifting, I'm so happy for you. Like you go. But I did. I got injured. And a lot of people get injured. And for me, I'm taking that as a sign that I shouldn't do it anymore. But, you know, everyone should choose it for their own selves. That's what I'm saying. The disembodiment comes when you ignore what your body is telling you. You ignore that this is no longer serving you. Okay, that's where the disembodiment comes from. And embodiment, feminine embodiment, comes from you knowing yourself, accepting yourself, and embodying yourself. From you knowing for yourself that, oh, this isn't serving me anymore, and accepting that, and then changing how you engage with wellness and fitness to fit what is now serving you. Okay, that is the feminine embodiment. Anyway, remember when I said that we're going to get into how Pilates is a deeply healing and empowering practice? Here's the science behind Pilates. Number 1, core strength and muscular balance. Pilates is designed to strengthen the deep stabilizing muscles of the core, including the transverse abdominis and the pelvic floor. And these are the muscles that support spinal alignment and overall functional movement. And research shows that regular Pilates practice can significantly improve core endurance, muscle activation, and lumbar pelvic stability, which are key for injury prevention and lower back health, especially for women as they age or move through pregnancy and postpartum transitions. A 2020 meta-analysis published in the Journal of Bodywork and Movement Therapies found that Pilates significantly improves core strength and posture in both active and sedentary populations. And number 2 is posture and spinal health. Pilates emphasizes slow, deliberate movement with attention to spinal articulation and neutral alignments. And over time, this improves your postural awareness and reduces your compensatory movement patterns and can even alleviate chronic back or neck pain. And especially for women who sit at desks all day, when you're hunched over your children, you experience these skeletal shifts all the way through menopause. And Pilates offers a gentle way to realign and support the spine. And number 3 is nervous system regulation and stress relief. What many don't realize is that Pilates is a somatic practice. It emphasizes breath, presence, and control, which engages the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our body's natural rest and digest state. And this is very subtle but very effective for lowering cortisol levels and improving sleep quality, enhancing mood and emotional resilience, and increasing your interoceptive awareness, which is your ability to feel body signals like hunger, fatigue, or calm. Consistent Pilates training reduced symptoms of anxiety and improved overall psychological well-being. And number 4 is pelvic support. Because of its deep core focus, Pilates also helps strengthen the pelvic floor, which is crucial for bladder control and support during hormonal transitions like pregnancy and menopause. And these are areas that are often ignored in conventional fitness, but Pilates centers them. And like I said, one of the reasons why women love Pilates is because the female body is the default. And this is why we see a lot of focus on the pelvic floor. So yeah, Pilates does have all these physical and mental and psychological benefits to women. So we can't just disregard it as a whole as a wellness practice, but at the same time, we do have to recognize that the online presentation of Pilates is kind of problematic. And the way that we reconcile the good and the bad is through recognizing that we can't engage in these wellness trends if we are practicing feminine embodiment. Because feminine embodiment isn't about controlling or disciplining the body, it's about inhabiting your own body. It's about knowing, accepting, and embodying yourself. It's being in communion not only with yourself, but also with others. And that's a beautiful thing. That's all I have for you today. I just want to let you know that your greatest power lies in you knowing yourself, accepting yourself, and embodying yourself. And remember, always protect your energy. And a big thank you to today's sponsor, Typology. Click the link in the description and you can receive a free shimmering dry oil with a purchase of $40 or more. Thank you so much. Bye.